I sound like Kermit the Frog and shit when I hear my voice.
Alrighty, folks, we have Mr. Greg St. Martin. Is that correct?
Yeah, Greg.
So why do you call yourself the Saint Man?
That started like way back when I was just like younger.
Go ahead, speak closer to it.
Okay.
And be a little louder.
Yeah. So yeah, that started when I was younger and everything, and like every superhero was Superman or Batman or something. So I was like, oh, I want to be the Saint Man.
Oh, really?
So it just stuck, and it was like like back then, being in high school, like PS3 came out, so everybody was making their tag names for their profile for gaming and everything. And like one of my best friends, his last name is Heartline, so he was the Heartliner, and I was like, okay, well, I'll be the Saint Man. So,
you guys were like superheroes.
So yeah, we were like superheroes.
Was that like high school or
yeah, high school.
Okay.
High school, playing like Call of Duty and Resistance and all these like online games and everything where you like get in with your group of friends and play like, I mean, still today, but I don't play video games anymore. But I don't know, the Saint Man kind of stuck, and it's my Instagram tag. And
did you want to be in the military? Because like I don't know, like superhero stuff. You want to be like the shit, or like what's the deal with the military?
So
because you were in the Air Force for how long?
I'm still in, so I'm going on. I've going on 14 years, but right now I've been in like 13. It'll be 14 in June. So
okay.
I think the military just came up because it was something to do. It was something that I was going to be able to build off of and everything like that. And just knowing that I wasn't going to go to college right after high school.
Mm-hmm. Why did you know that? Or just because of the military?
I knew that because the way that like I was raised and everything, like knowing that my parents weren't going to be able to afford me going to college. So like, I had to find my own way.
So you had to figure it out.
So there was an ROTC program and everything back in high school. Mm-hmm. And I was, kind of interested in the military and just the history of it. And I liked the pattern of the big BDUs that they had and everything. Yeah. And they got to wear those in school. So I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of became like a little nerdy. So like I left.
Nerdy? Yeah. Military became nerdy?
Well, for like being in uniform and stuff during high school. Because you had to wear your uniform like certain days in high school. So I was like, oh, this is kind of like you're singled out, in high school. You don't get to wear like your own image like to school. You have to wear the uniform. And now like you stick out. But
sure.
I don't know. When you're younger in high school and stuff, you're very impressionable. And like there's the peer pressure stuff. So like. People that were in the ROTC kind of saw as something like nerdy or just different. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, trying to fit in, and everything. I kind of like got
really ROT was seen as nerdy.
So yeah, it was not like your typical like.
I feel like ROTC now is seen as like badass.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like when I was in college and everything, going through ROTC, like everybody was like thanking people for their service or like asking them like what they wanted to go into and everything, and it was it's definitely come a long way and like has definitely even to today it's taken like weird turns and everything, whether you're thankful for people who are in military service or you think that they're on some certain agenda.
So initially when you went into the military, you're like, oh, I want to go to college, but I know my parents can't afford it.
Right. Yeah.
So
that was the main thing.
And that like the military, once you do so many years, that they'll pay for it. Right.
So I knew that doing my 4-year initial enlistment was going to get me access to go to college, and that was going to be all paid for by the military as long as I did my 4 years active duty.
Yeah.
So I had that 8-year plan basically. So coming out of high school, I wanted to join the military and go for 4 years, and then I wanted to get out and go to college for 4 years. And then at the end of my time there in the military, I kind of was like, well, maybe I want to stay in because I like it. I like the community. I like the people in it. I like the people that I've been able to meet. I love the places that I've been able to go.
Sure.
Which is, that's one of the biggest benefits is just
where you
traveling.
Where you been?
So training and everything, you first for the Air Force, at least you go to Lackland, which is in Texas, and then my trade school, which was military police and everything, was also in Texas. Some guys get to go to Louisiana or Alabama or wherever else.
Sure.
But yeah, so I stayed at the same base, which kind of was a drag at the time, but once we go through the academy and you graduate, then you get your base. And I was actually, you get a wish list and everything. And my wish list was all Hawaii for overseas and California for stateside.
So wish list is basically like a prioritizing of like where you want to go?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. And most of the time you get something on your wish list. If you're unlucky or unfortunate, then you go to somewhere like Minot, which is in like South Dakota, I think I'm right. It's in one of the Dakotas.
Yeah, Hawaii sounds better than that.
Yeah, so it's like freezing your nuts off all the time. So, yeah, and it's also one of our places and everything. So it's pretty well known. I don't think I'm giving out any secrets there. But yeah, so I prioritize Hawaii and California, and sure enough, I got like California. I got Vandenberg, which is 2 hours north of us here. And
is that how you like initially like liked California and moved here?
Well,
was it because you were stationed here?
So growing up, oddly enough, like you talked about the Saint Man. Well, before that, like I was always known as like Beach Boy Greg, and that's like that's one of my emails still to this day.
Is
like
it really?
I grew up being an Indiana boy, loving the Beach Boys and loving everything about what they kind of like stood for, sang about, which was surfing.
Sure.
Right? And California girls, all that kind of stuff. So I always wanted to live
just fantasized
in California. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could see like in my grade school yearbook photos or whatever, I'm wearing Hawaiian shirts throughout like at least 3 of those years. And and to this day, like
you still rock Hawaiian shirts?
Yeah, I love wearing Hawaiian shirts anytime I get the chance. Like on my recent military ID, because of COVID and everything, I was able to grow my hair out.
This man grew out like his hair. He had this stash, and he has this like very like wild mountain man vibe to his military ID, which is very shocking because like I have a lot of friends in the military, and usually every military ID has just like a clean cut dude, and Justin is like a button up shirt, and Greg's over here with like this beard, this hair, and this is Hawaiian shirt. They're like, this doesn't go together, which is kind of cool because like you probably don't see any military ID like that.
Yeah, no, definitely not on the regular. But yeah, so I always wanted to be in California. And getting that as my first base, I was ecstatic. But then a guy came up to me, and he was a fellow student with me, and he got a base to Ramstein, Germany. And he's like, hey, my fiance is at Vandenberg and everything. Would you be willing to trade with me? I'll even up it and give you like $1,000 on top of it. And I was like, oh, that's easy. Yeah, you throw money at me, like I'm all for it, man.
Sure.
And especially since it's like overseas. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So we traded, and I went to Germany for 2 years, and he went to Vandenberg, and I never saw the $1,000. So, I mean, it was a great time no matter what. Like being in station.
Oh, you're allowed to trade?
Yeah.
You can trade with people?
Yeah, I encourage anybody who goes in to trade for overseas. Like my little brother, he followed in my footsteps a little bit, and he was going through fire school, and he failed out of that, unfortunately. But when he was going through that, he got South Carolina or something.
Sure.
And then he traded it for London.
Yeah.
I was like, good on ya. And then he failed out, so he didn't get that base and everything. And then he went through the MP school and everything, the academy that I went through.
Yeah.
And he made it through that, and he had, I forget where he had there, but then he traded and he got Guam. And I'm like, dude.
Oh, that's sick.
That's awesome. It's like,
that's super cool.
Yeah, so he loved it out there. He got the deep sea fish and everything. And then he got super lucky. And now he's out here in California for his second base.
Yeah.
And he's at Vandenberg, the one that I had initially. So I got to see
full
Vandenberg.
Circle. That's super cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, but Germany was a hell of a lot of fun. And like, I do not.
For 2 years?
For 2 years I was there.
Okay.
And like during that time, like we deployed to Iraq and everything. And when we came back, that's when everything fun started. Like when we came back from Iraq, like everybody wanted to travel because now we had money, right?
Sure.
So when we were there with the boys and everything and a little group of friends in Iraq, we're like, all right, do we want to go to Africa and surf?
Oh, so you're planning it. You're planning this while you're deployed already.
Yeah, because we know, like once we get out of this deployment, like rest and relaxation, R&R is coming our way. So where are we going to go for this vacation? So we're talking like surfing in Africa, which I was like the main component behind that one. And then most of them were like, no, let's go snowboarding in Switzerland. And I hadn't done either one at the time. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So we started ordering boards and all of our gear and everything.
Sure.
So when we got back to Germany, at home there in Ramstein, it was like Christmas Day, you know, coming back to the mailroom and just seeing all of our boards all packaged up and all of this gear.
Oh, heck yeah.
So, yeah, one of the best vacations, travel.
How long were you there for? For Germany?
Germany was 2 years.
Okay.
We went on this trip to Switzerland for like an entire week and snowboarded the Swiss. I learned how to snowboard on the Swiss Alps.
That's awesome.
And, you know, like just being there and seeing how they live. Like we had to take a diesel fueled vehicle up to a certain location in Zermatt, Switzerland. And then from there, we had to switch over to an electric car that basically looked like it was out of like the.
What year was that? Was the electric car still a thing?
No. These electric cars look like they were like go-karts from like the Grinch movie and like Dr. Seuss and stuff. Like they were really weird looking and very small. But we fit all of our gear and all of our guys on it. There's 4 of us, and they taxi you into town, and everything in this town and this snowboarding, skiing village and everything was all like electric car and everything. But they were not like a sweet Tesla or anything. They're these little like go-kart things.
Isn't it crazy that the places that you travel to, you just like learn a lot just because every place is different. There's certain things that just are like unknown to you until like you experience it for the first time.
I think that's like probably the greatest thing about going into the military was just the travel. And then that travel brings another component to it, which is like the open-mindedness to seeing how other countries, like in the U.S., I think the transportation system sucks here. Like if we could get on what Europe is on, with the Autobahn and some of these trains and everything and roundabouts instead of stoplights and stuff, I think we'd be way better off, way more efficient through traffic. There'd be less people.
Yeah, I've never experienced that. It sounds a little bit more efficient because you don't really stop, right?
No, yeah. A traffic circle or a rotary system, which they have in Massachusetts, or at least that's what they call it, is constantly moving instead of stopping at a light and then you're waiting for the light to change. Like nobody's moving. Yeah. Like everybody is stagnant.
Especially traffic in like LA, New York, big cities is kind of crazy.
Yeah. So roundabouts keep the traffic moving, but the thing is like us dumb Americans, we don't like change. We don't like anything that we're not used to. So like when it comes to a roundabout, like nobody really knows how to utilize it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're saying about like the metric system too. It's so much easier. Yeah. And then
and so everybody
we're over here with feet and inches, and everyone around the world is like, what the fuck are these Americans using? My roommate uses Celsius in the house. I'm just like, what the heck is this shit?
Yeah, I think it's like the rest of the world goes by this stuff.
Yeah.
Americans call it military time. You know what the rest of the world calls it?
Normal.
Like, what the hell? Like, why do we have to be so different? But I guess, you know.
Yeah. What's the biggest lesson you learned from the military?
I would have to say, like, just being like the discipline that comes with it, right? And it's not like when people hear the word discipline, they think of it like as like being yelled at to do something, right? Like that's not discipline. Like self-discipline is like one of the best like concepts you can learn. Self-discipline, and that means like, you know, taking care of your own business and your responsibilities when you need to, and like keeping to a routine, making that routine. And then once you have that routine, don't break that routine because of something else, because you've had the discipline set in place that you built it, you know, like you built it for a reason, you know, just because it's your routine, you don't want to break it and everything. Like,
but to some people, like self-discipline is like super hard, and they don't know where to start. So what do you tell the person who out there is like, oh, I don't have any self-discipline, I don't have a routine, I try it for a week and then I stop, it's really hard for me? Like, what do you say to that person?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think that's tough. I have, you know, not thousands, but I have a couple of good, like really good friends that I try to like tell this to, and just acquaintances in general that I try to like help with working out and everything. Like that's a discipline, but if they're not getting it, you know, like you have to start small. So if I don't do this, but this is a simple thing to do. Making your bed in the morning, like that's probably the simplest like discipline thing that you can do. Is just to make your bed in the morning. I am under the belief of like making your bed, like what's the point? I'm going to come back in a few hours and just wreck it. Like, but there is nothing like getting into like a nice, you know, bed that's made at the end of the night, it feels so much more relaxing. So, it's something that you've accomplished in the beginning of the day, and it feels great at the end of your day. So you have that type of discipline to do that, and you just build off of it. Or just something simple, like what do you like to eat, right? And then if it's healthy, like turn that into part of your routine and just build off of that. Or go hiking every now and then, right? Like if that's a discipline, like just make it part of something you want to do. Like
the eating thing is important too, because I tell people who like want to get in shape and stuff like that, like find like 3 good healthy meals that you like and eat them every single day. Because it takes like the little thinking of like, what should I eat? If I'm hungry, I'm just going to go to like a fast food spot or anything. But if you have it planned out, and if you have like, for every morning, like you're doing 3 eggs and an avocado, right?
Yep.
And that's it. I don't need to think about it, and that's healthy, So I think discipline's super important. In the military, there's a lot of like military people who come out though who like lose that discipline, right?
Yeah.
And like why is that?
It's just like anything. It's your choice, Like it's some people are resentful that they went into the military, or they don't wish that they were in. And most people that I've talked to, like when they're older and everything, they're like, oh man, I should have stayed in. Like when I was coming out of active duty, going into
what are you
college and everything, I went into the reserves.
Reserves is in college?
No, the reserves is just
you were in college and in the reserves at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. So the military has active duty, which is full time, and they have 2 part-time things, which is National Guard and reserves, and those are like your weekend warriors, what they call you, and everything. So, but one of my decisions to join the reserves instead of just dropping military altogether was so many people that I talked to was like, I wish I would have stayed in. So many.
Really?
Were just like, I wish I would have stayed in. And so that was easy factor.
Did you wish you stayed in?
Active duty? No, not really, because it's led me, like, that would almost lead to like a regret, right? And I've, throughout just living life, I've learned to not really have regrets and not believe in regrets and everything. And because anything that you can regret, kind of like will dampen your mood or
haunts you for a long time.
So turn everything into a
positive,
into a positive, like make it a lesson, right? Like I had a DUI, like I learned now, like drinking isn't that big of a deal. Like I don't need to drink to have fun. Yeah. And so now I'm way more disciplined about my drinking.
When did you get a DUI?
About like 4 years back.
Oh shit.
4 or 5 years back. Yeah. It was right when I got back from a trip to the Philippines. I like went out with a friend and we got a little too drunk together, and then I drove her home and got her home safe, and then I got turned around, and but I learned from it, and like now, like I've progressed through it, and like even my command, like when they found out about it, like they weren't too harsh on me because they knew who I was, and building that through my discipline,
character,
having the good character and being on time and being efficient in my work and everything. When I go to work, it wasn't that bad, and I then also learned through the different AA meetings and certain things, which those meetings are very, very.
I went to a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went for gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're intense.
They're intense, man.
They're super intense. Yeah. And the people that run them, man, like they're into it. And like, man, it was so uplifting in certain ways. And like, I wish that I could have the discipline to go back to those and everything. But
why do you need to go back?
No, I'm just saying because of the way that what we talked about there, the energy that was there. Sure. It was just good vibes all around.
Yeah.
But, sometimes it also feels like a cult meeting. And everything. It's like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Like,
it's also cool when you're talking about regrets and stuff. Like, it's always like you could see it as a positive just because like that, I would have rather that happened in the past during that time than my current position in life right now. Yeah. Because it would have been way worse right now if you got a DUI versus that back then.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. And just learning from it, right?
Yeah.
Like knowing now, like I can help people. At least I hope that I can.
Yeah.
And help them not go down that path of earning a DUI.
So back to the military, you were deployed for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then you come back and you go to college, right?
Yeah.
And what did you do, like, once you got back? Like, how was it transferring from...
Well, let me ask you something. Back to your question to me, like, you're a personal trainer and everything.
Yeah.
How do you teach people discipline? And if they can't take on discipline? Well, that's a hard question, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how do you train somebody to have discipline? I have brothers that sometimes aren't disciplined. You know, and I do the most that I can for them to understand what discipline is and have self-discipline. But sometimes it just all goes to the wayside, goes to the floor, man.
It's hard. It's hard. Definitely hard. I honestly don't like working with people for personal training who like genuinely don't want to help themselves. So like the first thing that I tell them, I was like, yo, the goal is, because there's a lot of personal trainers out there who are just going to milk their clients just for money. They're like, I want to see you twice a week, and they're just going to do the workout and boom, end of story. Like they have this one client, he was like, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds in like a month. And he just started with me. I was like, that's not going to happen, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a very, it's possible, but you're probably going to have to like kill yourself, right? So I tell them 2 pounds a week is realistic with a healthy diet, working out twice a week, and you doing kettlebell swings or a walk every single day. And if you can't do that, then you're not going to lose weight. And I ultimately, for all my other clients, I tell them the goal is that for you not to need me.
Yeah, right.
And that's the goal. And so it's not just me. This is a teamwork until you could do it by yourself. So I'm going to help you. I'm going to check in with you because, again, with like I check in every single day with one client. I'm like, hey, did you hit your 150 grams of protein? She's like, no, I didn't. I was like, okay, go get a protein shake, go somewhere, get it in, help them. But now she does it every single day. I don't even check in on her. You know, but I checked in with her every single day for like 2 weeks. So when you're talking about like your brother or your friends, it's hard, but if you really want to help them, you have to be like a team player. Like, hey man, did you do your studying today? Did you get your 10 push-ups in every single day until the point where like, Greg, shut the fuck up, dude. I did my 10 today.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's how I view it. And it's hard.
Yeah.
Like it's a challenge. And that's like the biggest thing in my opinion. Like a lot of people thrive off routine. A lot of people thrive off being disciplined because it allows you to save time. It allows you to be efficient, you know? Yeah. And some people, they thrive off not a routine, not being efficient. They're creative people, you know? But you have to like know, like figure out like who they are. Like if you're...
Yep. I think that's a big key right there that you hit on, like getting to know who you are and who you want to be, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of being disciplined.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through, you know, heartache with girlfriends and just the different factors of being an idiot with like getting a DUI and just certain things that I have found out like, man, this sucks. Like, how do I never get back to this?
Yeah.
And it's about finding out who you are.
Yeah.
And finding out who you are is like the discipline to be that person, right? You always have in your head
an idea
of who you want to be,
yeah.
right? What's that best you? What is that you that you want to be? You can't get there without discipline.
Yeah.
You really can't, because you know what you should be doing, right? And that's, or what you want to be doing.
Yeah. So when you're talking about like just knowing who you are, like not everyone's a Jocko Willink who's going to wake up every day at 4 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's a lot of creative people though who work until 7 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, so like if you're just basing it off that one person, that's a discipline right there. Right. Also, discipline is working on music until 7 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, discipline is also, you know, like staying up late and writing.
Yeah, it's being disciplined in your own craft.
And who you want to be. Like some people work better like in the morning, some people work better at night.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, that's my answer. That's what I do for like my clients. And it doesn't always work because like people, honestly, if you really want it, you're going to do it. And if you're going to get...
Yeah, you can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped.
Exactly.
Or who's not going to retain that help that they're getting.
And you also have to like dig deep inside yourself because like finding out who you are is tough. A lot of people don't want to like sit down and just be with themselves. Right. They want to be talking to someone all the time. They want to be calling someone all the time. They want to call up their little big brother all the time.
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, you know, like, as much as I am like a role model for like my brothers and I guess others out there, but I have my tough times. You know?
Everyone
like,
has their tough times.
Yeah.
Life's hard.
It is. It's very hard. And like finding out who you are and being able to love you for you and like be so comfortable in your skin that you don't care that you're alone. Wolf out there, like
that's a big thing with dating too, because like sometimes we always talk about like I'm gonna get married, I want to have kids sometimes or someday, but like the thing is like you can't love someone else until you love yourself and be like content or happy. If you're not happy with who you are, content with who you are, like you said, do the steps that you know you got to do to be the person you want to be. But again, it's hard.
It's a long path.
It's a lot of process. And some people go through a lot of people go through it their entire life.
Yeah, and I think it's I had this discussion a couple nights ago with one of my friends, and we both talked about it, and she was like, how do you find that, like, how do you grow to love yourself? And I almost always come to the conclusion like you have to go through heartbreak. You just have to like go through something where it's just so extreme that you want to work on yourself more than anything, right? You don't want to depend on somebody else. You don't want to ride somebody else's coattails, whether it's love that you think that
friendship,
it is,
family,
or whatever it is. Like you want to be able to stand alone, be independent, and love yourself for who you are, and then put that into a relationship with somebody else that might mirror that in their own way. Yeah.
Hard times are the best teacher, dude.
Oh, absolutely.
Hard times are the best teacher.
Rogan talks about it all the time, right? Like, hard times make hard men, easy times make soft men. Yeah. So, yeah, I believe in that. Like, I mean, just training and doing some of the stuff that we're doing right now with COVID being out there, which... what? Just finding, this is tough times for some people. So it's going to make you either sink or swim, right? With things that you want to do. Like right now, unfortunately, I had to leave Cali for a little bit, but
Greg's training to be a Navy SEAL right now. So he's trying to jump through the hoops to become one of the madmen.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes. We've been training now for a year and a half and everything, and maybe even longer, really, in the background scheme of things. I had one of my good friends go, and he's been trying to pull me along ever since that he had the idea of going. And
is he a SEAL right now, currently?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, is he doing anything that you're not doing?
As far as like training and like working your body, probably not. Like I'm probably, when you go through like the training. And
let me rephrase that. So, are you doing anything different than he did when he was trying to become a Navy SEAL?
No, we talk all the time. And we constantly talk, and he tells me like
you're doing all the right things.
Am I doing things I should be doing? He's like, run more. That's his only. That's like his only thing. Like, run more. He knows I hate running.
Running sucks, dude.
I mean, I think that too until I start running, and then like after a while, I'm like, I could go for a few more miles. Yeah. But I'm also like, in the back of my head, being like, what are you talking about? Go for a few more miles. Who are you right now? Yeah. But once you get going and you get on a pace, like it's not hard. Like he was training for marathons and stuff like that. And I was visiting him and training with him just for my own training. And man, like this guy can run, but he's more of a runner. I'm more of a swimmer. So
yeah, I mean, I ran a marathon in 2019, the LA Marathon, and that was top 5 hardest things I've ever done, dude. Like training for marathon's hard and running's hard. Like I don't run anymore really. I run a couple miles a week, but dude, it's just like another.
Now all my running, like I'll do. My workouts consist of me swimming like 1,000 to 1,500 yards, and then get out of the pool, go do some like 300 sit-ups, 300 push-ups. Get done doing that, go do a body lift, and then after I'm done with my body lift, I'll go for a run, which is really a sprint.
Is that like daily when you're doing that right now?
Yeah, I'll at least do that. At least I'll try to 3 times a week. Okay. So, and that's during the week too, like during the 5 times a week, because it's part of my routine, right? So it's easier to go right from work into that, and especially with the work that I do now, it's great to just jump in the pool and just get kind of clean from everything, get out of the pool, get through all that, and then, I mean, that whole workout there will last maybe like 4 hours, and then I'll get home, eat, shower, go to bed, do it all over again.
Yeah. Can you explain why you're training for it in Indiana versus California? Because I know you were doing it in California, but I don't really understand the process of like why you have to go to like a different state or like go back home to.
The biggest thing there was just like it was a business decision mostly. So one, COVID hit. I was bartending and doing like production and stuff, and all of those industries kind of shut down. Entertainment shut down. Bars and restaurants shut down, so I had like no work to do. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, let's just go on unemployment, see how this is like. And unemployment wasn't too bad. Yeah. But it was like I'm the kind of person like if I'm not doing anything, I'm not doing anything. Yeah. Like I'm a snowball. Yeah. Like I will.
I don't think you're a snowball. I think you're one or the other.
Yeah. But if I have that snowball effect. If I'm moving, I'm always moving. Yeah. Like I'll stay moving. If I'm stagnant, I'm gonna be there for a while. Yeah. So there was all of that, and then just the connection, right? The business decision that I made, I just didn't feel right with the group that was here that I was training with, and I had always felt comfortable with the group back in Chicago that I was working with. Yeah. And they were just way more like, hey, if you train, you hit these numbers, we got you. You'll get in if we can get you in. It's like cool.
Have you been passing all your tests?
Yeah. So
what's the
we're just in a waiting process right now with paperwork and everything. So I mean, not to get too deep into it because probably shouldn't too much. But
can you explain the test real quick? Like what's the Navy SEAL passing test?
So it's called the PST, and it's just a 500 meter swim for time. Obviously.
What's the time?
So you have to get below. I'm really bad at this, like knowing, because I always ace this, so I don't care. I think it's like a 12. It's on my phone. I think it's like under 12 minutes for the swim. Okay. Or maybe it's 12. And then you get 10 minutes break, get out of the water, go dry off, go change into the gym clothes, and then you come out and we do push-ups for 2 minutes.
How many push-ups do you got to do?
And so you got to crank out at least like I think 56, maybe let's just say 60. You got to crank out 60 in 2 minutes. Again, this is one that I ace, so I'm not worried about this one ever. Sure. And most of them are. The ones that I do know are next, like you get a 2-minute break after the push-ups, and then we go into sit-ups. And sit-ups has been my weak part. My weak spot.
So flexors.
Getting the so right really helped for that. So now I can crank them out pretty well. But before that, I knew that I had to get at least 50, and like 50 isn't anything. Like that's the minimum, right? So like if you're just getting by with the minimum for any of this stuff, you're not going to get looked at. Like you're going to be passed over. But I'm blowing everything else out of the water. So the next thing after sit-ups,
pull-ups,
is a 2-minute rest, and then we go into pull-ups, and that's not timed at all, as long as you don't drop from the bar. Okay. So you do as many as possible.
What's like a good number?
You have to get at least 10. But like the big dogs and everybody, we at least get 15. And like I'm one of those guys who will challenge to try to get like 20 or 22. Yeah.
Dude, pull-ups are hard. I'm trying to hit 50 in a row right now.
Yeah. And they're super strict. Yeah. Like you have to go all the way flat arm, like locked out, and then you have to pull all the way back up and get your chin
above,
clearly above the bar. Yeah, like it can't be like nudging above the bar or like slightly, and it can't be like the top of your chin. It has to be your whole chin going above the bar. So there's that, and then we get 10-minute rest, and we go into a 1.5-mile sprint. So, and you have to do that for at least under a 10:30, I believe. 10:30 is the time that you need to be solid under, and that's kind of been vexing to me too. But I'm getting like sub 10s and everything, so I'm in the clear with that. And it's just about routine and diet and everything, getting onto the right weight that I can carry on a run. Yeah. Like I said before, I don't.
So if you guys ever want to be in Navy SEAL, that's the bare minimum test that you have to do. Go ahead and start doing your pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups,
just look
run.
Up PST online, and you'll see, because there's PST for officers and there's PST for enlisted. And the numbers are a little bit different, but
what made you want to be a Navy SEAL? Or
basically just everything that I'm doing now with the military and going on deployments and being an instructor now, like in the career that I'm in, like instructing weapon tactics and everything, kind of like it's something I grew into.
Sure.
So it's never something that I thought that I would do. I mean, clearly one of my best friends is telling me like, hey, come with me. It's in our blood. We should go do this.
Yeah.
And I'm just the whole time like, no, man, that's crazy. I'm moving to LA. Like, get out of here. And that was like 4 years ago. So
I feel like now, just knowing you for the few years that I've known you is like your mind is always like, I feel like you want to do so many things.
Yeah.
And like you've had a lot of jobs, like bartending. Greg was like doing acting and writing for a while. Like when I first met him, he was talking about the script he wrote, and I was like, "What's going on?" He just said he wanted to be a Navy SEAL yesterday. Like I was just like, "What's going on?" But like right now, to see you like actually like go towards one thing and see you just like we were talking about our friend Hakeem the other day, just zone in on like one thing and like really focus and put all your energy into it. It's just like it's cool to see you do.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's you know, in life you kind of like you want to do so many things, right? Like I mean, I go through this issue with one of my brothers. Like he wants to do everything under the sun, and it's like, bro, figure out something that you really want to do. Figure out something that's going to give you a good foundation. You know, that discipline, that self-discipline, like give you some of that, and is a lifestyle that you want to live or that you can live and be happy about. And so it took me a while. It took talking to one of our good friends, Kyle. And, you know, he said, work your life backwards. You know, he was reading it in a book, like work your life backwards. And I did. Like eventually I'd like to have kids. Obviously I'd like to have that spouse that I can go and do Jeep journeys with and, you know, do travels through all the national parks and everything, which now...
Greg's a big Jeep guy. If you pass his Jeep, he'll give you the little, shocker.
The Wrangler Wave.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. So, you know, that's going to be a part of my life now. And it's something that I've found, like, just through growth, you know. Like, my mom knew it before I ever did. Like, that I wanted a Jeep Wrangler.
Oh, okay.
You know, and it was because of stemming from Jurassic Park and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of cool that my mom, like, knew that and hinted at it. And now, like, I'm in love. Like, I will never be without a Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah.
But it's great for, like, trips and everything. And, like, our friend Kyle, he's been substituting for my spouse right now, going on these trips. And he's even said to me, he's like, man, I don't want to see you get a girlfriend because she's going to take up my spot.
Did you really say that?
He did say that, yeah. But, you know, I'll always include Kyle as much as I can to any of these things because he's a Wrangler guy too, so why wouldn't I? So, but, getting back to I think you were asking, like, about wanting to be in the Navy and go for special operations and everything. Like, it's just something that grew on me. Teaching weapons tactics in my unit now, and then being deployed this last time, and then we got forwarded to Iraq from Kuwait, and then just working with our teams, and then seeing some of the leadership kind of deteriorate a little bit and not be that great, made me want to do something to where I can work more with a team and take everybody's advice into consideration and be a part of a team that's for the team and not for you know.
Do you think the military taught you, like, to be a big team guy? Because right now you're at YMCA. Greg's a personal trainer over there, and you want to do all these leadership things for them. You want to, like, do, like, these challenges. And is that based on? I feel like you thrive and like being part of, like, this community that, like, just pushes each other to grow. It doesn't matter if it's, like, in the military, or it's at your current job, or
I just like being a part of a good community.
Yeah,
like, whether it's the Jeep community, the military community, you know, with the Y, to the gym community, even, like, I don't mind the people that are CrossFitters, you know, like, some weird reason, like, people put, like, a stigmata on that.
I don't know why. Everyone's like, yo,
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I think CrossFit is great. I love watching the CrossFit games. I love following some of them. I love listening to the Josh Bridges, and who's a former SEAL too.
Yeah.
Well, not too.
He has a mustache.
I'm not anywhere near that yet. But yeah, Josh Bridges, and then you got Matt Fraser.
Yeah, retired, currently retired.
5-time champ who's
currently
just
retired.
Yeah, crazy. He might be back. We'll see. But I love watching those guys do their thing. And like Josh Bridges is such like a, flamboyant like atmosphere, and like his just the way he is out there with his facial hair, his what is the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh.
Vibrato. I don't know.
No, his personality. His personality is so like extreme when he's on that stage and everything. And same thing with Fraser. Like once he comes through with a win, he explodes. And like I love watching those guys do that stuff, and they do some amazing things. So that's a great community too. And I would love to be a part of a box. I always wanted to join a CrossFit box and just learn some new techniques and new exercises and everything. But I think what you were asking, like why I wanted to
join the Navy, Navy SEALs,
join the Navy and everything, was just because, it's something that, we can be a part of a team, and like the military kind of built that into me, and that's where you were going with that. It was like I'm big on helping people, and big on being a part of a team, and like everybody I talk to, I try to be as motivating as I can for them, and like help them in their own path, and set them right. Like our friend Akeem, like I've done everything that I could to help him, like help him out with getting a job where we were at the bar, and get him to be a manager, and he was successful at that, and then now he's moving on to something that he wants to do in Phoenix.
It's cool.
And I'm very happy for him, and wish him the best luck with it at all. And the way we met was through the military. We were in Oman together, and I tell him now, like he's out and everything, I'm like, maybe you should try to get back, like just for those like every weekends, like just do the reserves.
Little routine,
to have like, no, not necessarily the routine, but just to have that like that other thing that you are in the background, right? Because it takes a little bit to be a reservist. Sure. Sometimes it takes a lot because of other family members in your life and everything, kids, wife, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it can take a toll, especially when we go on deployments. Then it's a little bit more of a toll. But it's going to be something that's working for you in the background, as far as like, you can get TRICARE through them, which good or bad, I don't know, like for families, but me being a single guy and everything, like it's good. And then just the small military benefits, like tuition assistance and stuff, and then the fact that you're working on another retirement there, so
setting yourself up.
So
when you did that exercise with Kyle, the little like see where yourself are going to be and like work yourself back, what was that like end goal? What was that? What's your definition of like happiness, that end?
So that was being a family guy, right? So this brings it all back to where and how I kind of operate now, with being a team, wanting to be a team player, and wanting to help people out and like be a part of communities and everything. Like
the structure is the same as a family, for sure.
Right, exactly. So that's where it stems from. So I want to be eventually, like I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good husband. Like I want those things in my life, and those things I think I want more than whatever dream job is out there. Like I do want to do something that I'm gonna be able to enjoy, and not like just be like, well, I have this family, I gotta support them, and I settle.
Because it makes you like resent sometimes if you got that, if it's like that.
I've seen that in some of my friends back home too. And it's like, it's kind of sad, but I mean, they're a family man, and they find joy in that. And sometimes that can get lost because they're not enjoying their life outside of that family. That's, putting food on the table for that family, which is, their job and everything. So I've always enjoyed the military life, and I think that's somewhere where I've started to kind of like do well in. So I was like, why don't I just go back active duty and then do something that it will also benefit my body and everything. I'll have to keep my body sharp, my mind sharp. So let's try to go for special operations. Let's see where that goes. And whether I get to do the Navy or not.
You set yourself up certainly for the best spot right now.
I'm doing what I can to to do it.
Get where you want to be.
As sharp as I can to to get in. I know I'm one of the older guys, and they focus on kids coming out of
how old are you now? 33?
33, yeah. But with my experience and everything, being in, I think
they
I have
count
6 years now, like active, actually, because of all of my deployments added up. And even though I'm 13 years in the military, my active time looks like 6 years now because of the time that I put in for 4 years, and then the amount of deployments that I've gone on was at
Are you
this
kicking
time.
these kids' asses or some of them?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. So like swim, I pretty much blow everybody over.
Well.
I can't gloat. That's not part of the ethos. But yeah, I'm doing well with what I'm doing, and the kids that are in the pool or out there on the turf with me for some of the pull-ups and push-ups stuff, like I'm definitely taking it to them. And like they ask me too, like, how do you get better at push-ups, or how do you get better at the swim,
Sure,
or how do you get better at pull-ups?
Yeah.
And I just tell them, you got to do it.
You got to do more of them.
Do it.
You got to do more of them.
So, but I also sent them videos on some of the videos that I watched, because I had to teach myself how to do the side stroke and everything.
Sure.
Which is,
that's such a weird stroke, because like I feel like no one's taught growing up the side stroke.
Nope. Yeah. So like my buddy, I was down visiting him, and he was trying to teach me it, and like I gave up after 200 meters trying to like learn this thing. I'm drowning myself and everything, and I had to go through a couple of YouTube videos, and then I ended up on one.
YouTube's the shit, man. You can learn anything from.
Absolutely.
Everyone always complains about like, oh, I can't learn this thing, or like, I was like, shut up. Just Google it, YouTube it. You'll learn it in like a week if you put your time and energy into it.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's something you want to do, like just figure it out through Google and YouTube.
Yeah, it's so easy to access information these days. I mean, even like if you want to be a scientist or mathematician, there's videos on like that shit too.
Yeah, there's
everything.
Everything's at your fingertips or in your pocket, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I enjoy like kicking their ass and then helping them out like through things, because I know I'm gonna need that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the greatest at running. I'm not the greatest at sit-ups or whatever it is. Like they have us do this thing called crab walk. And they have us do this.
Is that the backwards one? No.
It's where you're on all fours,
backwards.
But your chest is in the
sky.
Air. Yeah. So
did you do that in the sand one time?
Yeah. We have to do it in the sand, and we have to do it like going up little berms in the sand and stuff, like little hills.
Such an awkward movement.
And it is, especially if you're a shorter armed person like me and you have guns like I do.
Yeah.
It makes it harder to move your hands and everything.
Yeah, but Greg's a pretty big guy for like a military body.
Well,
like for training for it, right? Like Navy SEALs are pretty like lean, and I mean
the younger guys are definitely, but that's just because they're young
and they haven't developed their guns yet.
They have chicken wings still, but I don't know. It comes, I think, through strength training, right? Like building that bone density. So
sure.
But
what are you most excited for right now, just in terms of like your life in general?
Getting this whole Navy thing going.
What's the timeline looking on that?
Oh man, I don't know. Every time I come up with a timeline for people and like even in myself.
Yeah.
Like when I did that road trip with Kyle through Yellowstone and everything to take me back home, that was in July. And I thought that like, okay, I'm going home in July. I'll talk to my recruiter and everything in late August here, and then we'll get things rolling. And then hopefully that'll set me up for October, November, December to be raising my hand to be like, yeah, ship me out, let's go. Because like my thought process behind that was all these younger cats would be like, I'm going to stay home with mom and dad for the holidays. Like, I'll go later. And like,
that didn't happen.
There would be me being like, yeah, fuck holidays. Like, it's just another day. Plus it's COVID. So like nothing's really going on.
Sure.
Like send me, like I'm ready to go. So that was my game plan. That was my like timeline before. Now I have no idea. Like, I could go through and get medically cleared, go through and do my test, and hey, you're going to ship out in next month. Oh, okay, great. Like, let's go. Or they could come back and be like, hey, we don't have anything until December. Like, what? December? Like, I'm killing myself being like, I love Indiana. I love being around family and everything.
Yeah.
But, like, it's nothing like after living in a city, and especially like LA, where we have sunshine outside when they're freezing their nuts off in negative weather, back home. And then there's also the ocean, which is why I moved out here. It's to like surf and
it's
like
beautiful out here.
Be near the beach.
Sunny 75 all the time.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
As far as like a timeline, man, like I have no idea, but I'm just gonna, and you know what? I talked to my buddy, who's down there and everything, and I was like, did you ever want to like quit like any of the like days? And he's like, oh yeah, man, all the time. Like I thought about it all the time, but I wake up and I get out of bed and it's just another day. And I was ultimately glad to be here.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what the hell he was talking about when he said that. But like now, this waiting period that I'm going through is going to give me so much more of an appreciation of being down there every day that I'm out there to train and like be a part of something great.
Yeah. Then once you get it, like you give it that much more satisfaction.
Absolutely.
You know?
And it's just all going to stem from me grabbing whatever silver lining that I can from. Sure.
I have full faith that you're going to become a Navy SEAL. You're one of the most like hardworking in terms of gym motivation guys I know. But did you think about the possibility if you don't get it?
Yeah. So there's two ways to think about that, right? One is don't ever have a fucking plan B because then you'll never succeed at plan A.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
The second thing is like always have a backup plan.
Yeah. So where are you at on there? Do you have
my safety net is we'll find some other special forces or something in another branch.
But right now it's just plan A and we'll get to that conclusion whenever that happens.
Yeah. Plan A is the only plan in my head.
Sure.
And we're going to succeed at plan A.
Yeah.
We're going to get there eventually.
Yeah.
Unless somebody tells me that I can't, which in my head, I should be the one who says I can't. You know, like I think about this with pretty much everything, like with people wanting to go out and do things now with COVID and everything. You should be the one that tells you that you can't, right? Or you shouldn't, or I'm not going to do this. Like, I wish that was the way for certain things, but you know, like even back when I joined the military, there was certain medical conditions that people could not get in with, right? If you were openly gay back when I came in, you could not be a military member.
Yeah.
Because it was like the don't ask, don't tell policy. And then Obama did away with that, and now it doesn't matter. I hope I'm getting that factually correct. But yeah, there's other things. Like you couldn't be flat-footed going in, and now it doesn't. You can. So there's certain like limitations that have been lifted to let people come in. But I do agree with certain, you know, qualities and certain expectations of, and like physical ability and mental abilities going into the certain higher degree programs, such as like a special forces unit. You know, like there needs to be those fences put in place.
Yeah, that's the whole it's the whole competence hierarchy. You know, like.
Yeah, and that too. Competency is a huge proponent.
Yeah.
Because can you work in a team, or are you going to be the person who blows off the team and like goes and pouts, or like just throws the team, if you're the leader, throws the team under the bus and does what they want to do.
Sure.
You know? And I've been under, and that's like, that was one of my big things of getting into this was like, I never want to be a part of being that type of leader where I'm just going to do what makes me look good as a leader.
Sure.
Like, no. Two things as a leader, right? It's your responsibility if shit goes to the fucking, you know, to the fan.
Yeah.
And the other thing, the number two, if you do well and you succeed, that gratitude goes to your team, right?
Sure.
I don't like when like our presidents claim military victories. That is not your victory. There's so much boots on the ground and intelligence that went into that decision for you to pick out of like 5 other decisions for our military to go in and get it done. Like that's their victory. That's not your victory.
Sure.
So that's the like type of leader I want to be, where like when praise is due, it all goes to the team, you know, and you're a part of that team. So like you're a part of that praise, but it's not solely
you. Not solely you.
You know,
I can see how that gets annoying, especially with like.
Well, that's the main thing that gets annoying is like when shit hits the fan, right? When things go wrong or array, and you don't want any of the blame as the leader, you're like, well, my sergeant didn't do what he was told. Like his airmen were running awry, or you know, whatever the case is. Like you're putting blame on somebody else. That's another thing that I think with discipline, right? It's like you don't make up excuses, right?
Yeah.
There's reasons why you didn't get things done. Don't make excuses though. Like, oh, like I felt sick today, so I didn't want to come to work. Like, get your ass up, moving. Like, hopefully it's not COVID. I have to like Because like before COVID, right?
Yeah.
Before COVID, we would go into work sick and just do our shit, get our shit done.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't matter. Like, put your bootstraps on and get out the door and go to work.
Yeah.
But now with COVID, like, it's being sick. But the main thing is I'm saying is like, don't make excuses for things, right? Because that just leads to your incompetency, right? And that doesn't help being a leader. That doesn't help being a part of a team or anything. Is making up excuses for you not to get things done. And it all just goes back to being disciplined.
Yeah. Back to you said the snowball effect, and you're basically like either or it leads to. And I've seen you down, and most of the time, probably like 80, 90% of the time, you're just like this high vibing, like smile on your face, like motivated guy. But
people always question me about that too. They're like, "Why are you smiling?" I don't know. I just smile all the time. Like, what's funny?
Yeah.
What's funny?
Oh,
Nothing.
really?
Like, I'm just smiling. Like, I can't smile.
People do that
all the time. I get that. Like, why are you so smiling?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm happy to be alive.
That's awesome, man. But like I've seen you probably at that 10% of like where you're like down and not doing a lot.
Yeah.
And I guess my question is like, how to like anyone out there, like a lot of people.
How do I snap out of it?
Yeah, well, a lot of people are in that 10% like downside for a very long time, and sometimes they don't get out of it for a couple of years or a few years or a lot of years, you know. And so, like, I guess for you, what's your process to like just dig yourself out of that hole?
Well, I know that I'm like in my back of my head, like I know I'm better than this. Like, you have to remind yourself, right? Who are you? Where'd you come from? What have you built yourself up to? Right? Sure. Like, I'm Greg St. Martin.
The Saint Man.
The Saint Man, right?
Yeah.
I went through, I was a swimmer in high school. Then I got into the military. I did well in the military. I went to college. I graduated college, like first, I think, out of like my family members and everything. That was a big accomplishment. I always thought that was going to be a big accomplishment. But then I did it and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, now I'm like this leader and everything in our military stuff. And I'm a, teacher for our guys. I'm an instructor, and like I have to remind myself of all that, and then remind myself of all the friends that I have.
It's so easy to be like, "Oh, you're a piece of shit. You're not doing anything with your life." But again, those you've done so many good things.
Remember your accolades. Yeah. Remember what you've accomplished.
I don't really think about it like that. That's a great way to
build yourself back up. Right. Remind yourself of who you are. And what you have done and everything.
And everyone's done like some pretty good things.
Yeah. And even if you haven't, like, you still can be, right? So that's another thing that motivates you too. Like, not only is your past motivating, but what we talked about earlier, like, who's that better you?
Yeah. Right? And just try to chase that person.
Like, go be that person, right? Yeah. And it's something that McConaughey said, like, who he always looks up to, right?
He's his
like,
hero 10 years down the road.
10 years down the road, right? And that's, you're never going to catch him, but you could do your best job. Yeah. Right? On doing that. And that was something that sounded so cool to me. I mean, to me, like, a role model to me is, everybody likes to say their dad. And I mean, I'm online with that too. Like, my dad is a hard worker. Like, he always has got some project that he's working on, right? Which I admire. And I also am like, yo, man, like, you just need to chill. Yeah. Like, you've worked your whole life. Like, you need to start to like find like that escape, like get to a chill mode. But maybe he doesn't have one. Maybe just working is his chill mode. But that hard work ethic, and like, just like, there was a while that I was on the unemployment recently and stuff, and I was just fine with that. And then my thought process for that was, I'm going to go back to work. I'm trying to get into the Navy, right? So eventually I'll get picked up, and like, my job now is just to train and focus on my body and everything, and get myself like as sharp as I can.
Butcher Greg too, right? You're a butcher now.
But but there's Greg the Butcher too, right? So there's things that I wanted to learn and do, and one of the main motivators of that is like, well, unemployment is running out, and like, I also don't like just sitting here every day, and like, the only thing I look forward to is going to the gym and doing my routine. Like, I want to like be a part of another community, or like work your work friend community, right? Like, that's the community, whether it's good or bad.
I was talking about my roommate about that. It's like, work friends are like awesome.
Like, well, that's some of the best friends that you get, right? Like, some of my best friends from the military, they were work friends at first, and then we just built on that relationship, and now we're like best of friends. Same thing with Kyle and me. Like, we worked at a bar together.
Yeah, you guys became
now we're best
really
of
good friends. Yeah.
So, yeah, like the people you work with and stuff have some similarities to you, right? Like in acting, you want to find the similarities for a character, right? And you want to draw those out so that you can relate to them, and then you build off those similarities to create your character.
Sure.
So same thing like with at work. Like there's some likeness with everybody at work because you're doing the same goddamn job.
Well,
right? So you have that, and then you just find like what else can you vibe with, right? And maybe there's nothing else.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just that you're there to do the job and get through the day. But for the most part, right, people are into their job.
Yeah.
Like the job that I do now is butchering four-legged animals and then send them out in packages, right, to feed America, right? That's what. But my whole interest in that was back in the day, all men were hunter-gatherers, right? They were one or the other. And, like, I've been a gatherer my whole life, just going to the grocery store. You know?
I mean, if you put it like that, I don't think that's a definition of a gatherer.
I mean, you are gathering food, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, you're not really seeking it. You know where it's at. And now, like, I'm not actually going out and hunting it, but I'm doing that part that once you did hunt it and you took it, you took it down, you bring it back and you need to bleed it out. You need to gut it and then hide it and, then turn it into meat. And
me and Kyle were talking about it. I mean, it's a very good skill in terms of just like if you end up hunting and like you end up like doing your own wild game and stuff, like it's a great skill to learn how to properly butcher an animal. Yeah. And like I guess learning how to use knives is very important for like I guess like cooking too and everything like that. Learning how to like make the meat look appealable, like
Yeah, and all the things that you can do out of it too, right? Like bone marrow, bone broth, like
sure.
You can get that just from
you're
the
probably
bones.
learning some like cooking stuff too.
I want to. Yeah, there's a smokehouse in the butcher house that we work in and everything. So we've got the smokehouse, we've got the slaughterhouse, and then we've got the boning table and everything, and then we've got the front desk and then the coolers and everything. So right now where I work is the slaughterhouse, and then once we are done with the kills for the day and everything, we come to the boning table and we just cut meat into the packaged meat that you get to buy and everything.
You got to head out of here pretty soon. I want to talk about close it up. You were just talking about building yourself up from those low spots, but then you can't just be like, oh, I'm the shit, and then do nothing else. So what's the next steps to like those last steps of just digging yourself out of those holes?
For me, it's I know that once I get moving, like I'm going to be motivated to keep moving. And to
so building that momentum and just growing
momentum,
off of it.
Yeah. Like even when I was a little stagnant, right? I had that momentum in the day where I have to go. I have to go and work out. Right? Yeah. And then once I did that, like I wanted to do more things. Like I wanted to hang out with people. So there was people that I met at the gym and stuff, and we'd go and we'd watch like the Conor McGregor fight with Dustin Poirier and everything. And like we'd start doing things like that. So, it's tough to really like get going, but as long as you have a goal that you're going for, right, it makes it somewhat easier. And then once you achieve that goal, you set another goal, right? People are never satisfied, whether it's making these goals up that you want to get to in life and like just keep bettering yourself and putting on more accolades, to your ribbon rack or whatever. Yeah. Or it's material items like, oh, I got the new Tesla or the new iPhone, right? Yeah. Like in a year, you're gonna want that new iPhone. Yeah. So you gotta work.
I do that a lot. I do a lot. I when I work and stuff, and I don't want to do something, I'll write, oh, I want, what was it? A new camera, and like you have to do these 10 things, right? And then you could buy that camera,
right? Yeah. Yeah. Like Kyle and I talk about like going on another road trip. Yeah. Well, what do we have to do to go on that next road trip, to go on that next backcountry hike and everything? And it's something that we both wanted to do in Yellowstone. We did it. We kind of weren't geared up for it, but it's been tearing Kyle apart.
He wants to do it bad.
And yeah. And I want to do it too, but I want to bring as many people as I can into it, right? Sure. And like, what are the steps to do that? Well, one, it's timing with everybody's schedules, but two, it's also like having the right equipment. So we got to work to get that. Right? And like I even want to get eventually like a camper for the top of the Jeep.
Oh yeah, that looks sick.
Yeah, have a hard shell up there and stuff. Some of my buddies already have that kind of stuff. I saw like their kits with their Jeeps or their tacos.
Something to strive for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I strive for the adventure and continue being a journeyman. So,
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, brother.
Yeah,
next time Greg's on, he's gonna be a Navy SEAL. So
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll have to blur my face out.
Alrighty, guys. Thanks for listening, Greg St. Martin, guys. See ya.
Yeah. Thanks, man.